The story begins with a young taxi driver named Young Min. He was a college student living with his grandmother and mother. Just a few months prior, his mother was tragically killed by a hit-and-run motorcyclist near his taxi stand. This devastating event forced Young Min to drop out of college and take on the responsibility of caring for his grandmother and earning a living. He drove his taxi from dawn till dusk, working tirelessly. One day, he picked up a passenger in a hurry to reach his child's school. Young Min swiftly delivered him, and the passenger's joy at reuniting with his daughter brought a smile to Young Min's face. We then meet Seok, Young Min's wealthy friend. Despite his family's riches, Seok was encouraged to make his own way in the world and ended up running a successful taxi company. That evening, Seok and Young Min went to retrieve Seok's expensive Italian speakers, only to find they had been stolen. Young Min, after some urging from Seok, pursued the thieves and, with the help of the police, apprehended them. The officers were grateful, as this gang was responsible for numerous thefts. The next morning, Young Min made breakfast for himself and his grandmother before heading out to work. As he opened his taxi door, he dropped some coins. While picking them up, he noticed an old-fashioned phone on the back seat. Assuming it belonged to a passenger, he tried to turn it on but received a sudden jolt. A man then approached, demanding 3 months of overdue house payments. Young Min was informed that his house would be auctioned off the following month if he didn't pay. He was shocked and overwhelmed by the amount he needed to gather. Later that night, while driving his taxi, ghostly figures appeared in his back seat. The figures, young women, asked to be taken to a graveyard. Upon arrival, Young Min discovered a film set and dropped them off. As he drove home, he saw another ghostly figure, a young woman, in his rearview mirror. Terrified, he asked why she hadn't left with her friends. She agreed to leave, but simply passed through the car door without opening it. As she walked away, an unseen force pulled her back into the taxi, causing Young Min to faint. He woke up the next morning believing it was all a dream, but the young woman was still there. He ran from the car in fear. A police officer, seeing the abandoned taxi, approached to move it. Young Min pleaded with him to check inside, fearing something was wrong. The officer found the car empty, but upon returning, Young Min was confronted by the ghostly figure once again. She asked if he knew who she was and how she got there, but Young Min just wanted her to leave. He soon discovered that she was tethered to the taxi. She couldn't go far without being pulled back. Meanwhile, an elderly man visiting his daughter's grave received a message that her case had been reassigned to different officers. We see a picture of his daughter, Ji Hyun, the same young woman haunting Young Min's taxi. Back in the taxi, Young Min, with Ji Hyun in tow, continued to pick up passengers. However, each passenger felt an unsettling presence and left prematurely. Young Min's business suffered, leaving him worried about paying his debts and dealing with Ji Hyun. One night, he parked his taxi further from home than usual to prevent Ji Hyun from entering. Ji Hyun, recognizing the area, felt a sense of familiarity. At home, his grandmother scolded him for being out all night. He went to bed, plagued by nightmares of ghosts. The next day, his grandmother insisted on taking him shopping. He reluctantly agreed, worried about Ji Hyun's presence in the taxi. During the trip, his grandmother began feeling unwell. They arrived at a temple, and his grandmother went inside. Outside, Young Min tried to have the taxi cleansed, but it only harmed Ji Hyun. She pleaded with him to stop. A doctor, who had ridden in the taxi without incident, called Young Min. Ji Hyun pointed out that the doctor was unaffected, proving the disturbances weren't her fault. Later, at the hospital, Young Min saw the same doctor who had tried to save his mother. He brought the doctor a gift and ran into his friend, Suri, who worked there. He thanked them both for their efforts that day. Ji Hyun, observing everything, asked to be parked closer to the house that night, fearing the darkness. Young Min was surprised that a ghost could be afraid of the dark, but agreed. Ji Hyun recognized the house and surrounding area, but couldn't recall any specific memories. The next day, Ji Hyun became more cooperative, understanding Young Min's financial struggles. She offered to sit in the back so as not to scare passengers. They encountered a man who asked if Young Min could see him and if he could enter the taxi. Confused, Young Min agreed, and the man passed through the door, revealing himself to be another ghost, Mr. Bayan. Frustrated, Young Min considered selling the taxi to escape the ghosts. However, they encountered another ghost who pleaded for help. He explained that before his death, he was on his way to sell gold jewelry to pay for his daughter's medical treatment, but died in an accident. He begged Young Min to deliver the gold to his daughter in the hospital. Reluctantly, Young Min agreed. He found the daughter outside the hospital and gave her the gold. The girl's mother was overwhelmed with emotion. Young Min, Ji Hyun, and Mr. Bayan were all moved by the scene. The girl's father, also present in spirit form, was overjoyed and then disappeared, his final wish fulfilled. The little girl then placed a gold ring in Young Min's hand, a gift from her father. Young Min was deeply touched. Ji Hyun then suggested turning the taxi into a ghost taxi, fulfilling Spirit's last wishes in exchange for gold or money. Young Min liked the idea and dreamt of becoming rich. However, Mr. Bayan revealed he only had one gold biscuit, not a fortune. Angry and disillusioned, Young Min returned home, leaving Mr. Bayan behind. Ji Hyun tried to convince him to help Mr. Bayan, but he refused. Talking to his grandmother, Young Min remembered his mother bathing him in a small tub as a child. This memory resonated with him, and he decided to help Mr. Bayan. He visited Mr. Bayan's wife, pretending to be his cousin, and managed to retrieve the gold biscuit. However, a call came informing Mr. Bayan's wife that his compensation from a work-related death was ready to be collected. At the company, Mr. Bayan's supposed mother appeared, offering condolences and arranging a memorial service. She placed kiwi fruit, to which Mr. Bayan was allergic, claiming it was his favorite. Mr. Bayan was confused as he believed his mother abandoned him years ago. The woman's true intentions were revealed. She wasn't his mother and planned to claim the compensation herself. She revealed that she and Mr. Bayan were never married, just lovers, a fact she used to her advantage. Mr. Bayan was devastated. Young Min, realizing the deception, followed the woman and discovered a picture of her with a scar on her right hand. Mr. Bayan confirmed his real mother had a similar scar. They confronted the woman, but she accused them of murdering Mr. Bayan and escaped. At the hospital, they learned Mr. Bayan's wife, So Yun, was pregnant. Young Min had an idea. He had the woman's DNA tested, proving she wasn't Mr. Bayan's mother. Before they could call the police, the woman and her accomplice fled. Later, while dropping So Yun home, Young Min noticed the compensation documents in his taxi. He went to return them, but found the door locked and So Yun held hostage. The woman demanded the money, threatening So Yun's life. Mr. Bayan, witnessing the scene, desperately tried to intervene. Miraculously, the door opened, and Young Min overpowered the woman and her accomplice. So Yun was saved, and Young Min revealed his true identity to her, explaining his connection to Mr. Bayan. So Yun, initially skeptical, finally believed Young Min when he relayed messages from Mr. Bayan, reminiscing about their shared past and expressing his love and regret. Mr. Bayan then peacefully disappeared, his spirit finally at rest. Young Min and Ji Hyun returned home. The police were still investigating Young Min's mother's death and questioned his grandmother. Young Min noticed Ji Hyun was wearing his mother's hair tie, leading to the shocking realization that his mother and Ji Hyun knew each other. They discovered a picture of Ji Hyun on his mother's old phone, confirming their connection. The next day, the police questioned Young Min, suspecting him of his mother's murder. He was angry and left. A flashback revealed that he was on the phone with his mother moments before the accident, allowing him to recognize her voice and rush to the scene. He followed the ambulance in a different taxi, leaving his mother's taxi behind as evidence. Meanwhile, Suri visited Young Min's house for dinner at his grandmother's invitation. At the hospital, Dr. Dujin noticed Dr. Jang Woo's malpractice, leading to an argument where Jang Woo threatened to expose Dujin's secret stash of rare medications. A passenger, a shaman, entered Young Min's taxi and revealed that Ji Hyun was attached to an object in the car, not the taxi itself. Young Min remembered the old phone and took it away, causing Ji Hyun to be pulled towards it. They accidentally kissed, awkwardly avoiding eye contact. When the phone's battery died, Ji Hyun disappeared. Young Min rushed home to charge the phone, but couldn't find a compatible charger. He went shopping with his grandmother the next day, and she threw away the old phone. Without Ji Hyun, his day went smoothly, and he began to wonder if he should forget about her. Meanwhile, Ji Hyun was fading in the other world, in danger of disappearing completely. Young Min's friend, Seok, introduced him to Young Sun, a fellow taxi driver and their mutual friend. Young Sun's mother suffered from aphasia and went missing. They searched for her and found her with the police, mistaken for harassing a child. Young Sun explained her mother's condition, reminding Young Min of Ji Hyun's isolation. He realized he couldn't abandon her. He retrieved the phone, bought a new charger, and brought Ji Hyun back. They resumed their ghost taxi venture, but passengers were still scarce. They encountered a young ghost, Sunbo, who was Ji Hyun's childhood friend. He offered Young Min money to fulfill his wish of dating Ji Hyun. Young Min reluctantly agreed, and Sunbo and Ji Hyun went on dates, with Young Min feeling jealous. Sunbo planned to propose, but Young Min prevented Ji Hyun from meeting him. Ji Hyun confessed she didn't love Sunbo and was only helping Young Min touched. Young Min allowed her to meet Sunbo. Sunbo, instead of proposing, explained that he had learned about spirit's release. He revealed his love for Ji Hyun and disappeared, his wish fulfilled. Young Min and Ji Hyun were left with mixed emotions. They encountered a young boy whose sister, Hyul, had gone missing. They visited his home and learned more about Hyul's disappearance. Initially reluctant, Young Min and Ji Hyun decided to help find her. They questioned Hyul's friends, who blamed her for running away. One friend, however, defended Hyul and ran off. They followed the friend and were attacked by thugs sent by the other girls. Luckily, the police intervened and saved them. Young Min was injured and treated by Dr. Dujin. They decided to continue searching for Hyul. They found Hyul's belongings near a river, suggesting suicide. However, Ji Hyun noticed a discrepancy in the suicide note and suspected foul play. They learned from Hyul's best friend that Hyul had died trying to save her from being bullied. They went to the cliff where Hyul died and found her body. Miraculously, she was still alive. They rushed her to the hospital, where she recovered. Young Min and Ji Hyun celebrated with Hyul and her brother. Back home, Young Min confessed his feelings for Ji Hyun. She reciprocated but held back, fearing she would disappear if they fell in love. Suddenly, Ji Hyun had visions of her past, revealing she was an officer, the daughter of Mr. Kong. The police, investigating both Young Min's mother's and Ji Hyun's cases, questioned Mr. Kong, who seemed to be hiding something. They reviewed CCTV footage and noticed a connection to the hospital where Dr. Dujin and Suri worked. Young Min and Ji Hyun met a man on the hospital roof who offered information in exchange for fulfilling his last wish. He revealed his identity as Mr. Do, a former officer and friend of Mr. Kong. They learned that he had been trapped in the hospital for years and knew something about the case. They agreed to help him say goodbye to his estranged daughter who lived abroad. They found his daughter and convinced her to visit him. Mr. Do apologized for his past mistakes and expressed his regret for not being there for her. His daughter finally forgave him, and he disappeared, his wish fulfilled. Mr. Do gave them an address, promising answers. They arrived to find a dead body and pictures of Young Min and others. They realized the address belonged to Jang Woo and that the nurse, Hoon, lived nearby. She saw Young Min and called the police, leading to his arrest. Meanwhile, Mr. Kong revealed that his daughter, Ji Hyun, was still alive but in a coma. Young Min, in custody, asked his friends to keep this a secret from his grandmother. He was released the next day when the police identified Jang Woo as the murderer. Ji Hyun noticed a picture of Mr. Kong in the apartment where Jang Woo's body was found, realizing he was her father. They visited Mr. Kong, and Ji Hyun was overwhelmed with emotion. Young Min pretended to be her friend and hinted at a connection between her and his mother's deaths. Mr. Kong requested time to think. Young Min and Ji Hyun met the spirit of the woman found dead in Jang Woo's apartment. She revealed that Jang Woo didn't kill her and was in fact her boyfriend. They decided to find Jang Woo, hoping he could lead them to the real killer. Dr. Dujin, watching them through a hidden camera in Young Min's taxi, became suspicious of Young Min, and Ji Hyun met the spirits of Jang Woo and his girlfriend. Jang Woo, seeking revenge, asked Young Min to expose Dr. Dujin. They promised to help. They found a recording with evidence against Dr. Dujin, which scared him. He realized he was being watched and went into hiding. Young Min discovered the hidden camera in his taxi and confronted Dr. Dujin. They went to Haun, revealing her connection to the murder weapon. She contacted the police, and they went to arrest Dr. Dujin. He kidnapped Young Min and confessed to killing his mother and Ji Hyun. He revealed his psychopathic tendencies and enjoyed watching people suffer. A flashback showed Young Min's strained relationship with his mother and her friendship with Ji Hyun. Ji Hyun, while investigating a case, was drugged and nearly killed by Dr. Dujin, but escaped with the help of Young Min's mother. However, they were both killed in a hit-and-run orchestrated by Dr. Dujin. Young Min escaped with Ji Hyun's help and was rescued by the police. Dr. Dujin was arrested but seemed pleased with himself. Dr. Dujin was released due to lack of evidence. He then murdered Young Sun's mother and attended her funeral, enjoying the suffering he caused. Ji Hyun noticed his sinister smile and became suspicious. Young Sun's mother's spirit appeared, confirming Dujin's guilt. They fulfilled her last wish of going on a road trip with her daughter, and she disappeared, finally at peace. Dr. Dujin visited Young Min's house, raising Ji Hyun's suspicions. He kidnapped Young Min and revealed his true nature, confessing to all his crimes. Ji Hyun saved Young Min, and the police arrived, arresting Dujin. Ji Hyun, now awake from her coma, was reunited with Young Min. He was overjoyed. Haun confessed to the crimes to protect Dujin and committed suicide in prison. Dr. Dujin learned about Ji Hyun's awakening and tried to kill her, but was caught and arrested. He died a painful death at the hands of his victim spirits. Ji Hyun resumed her work as an officer and finally started a relationship with Young Min. They visited a shaman who told Young Min where to find his mother's spirit. They went to his mother's favorite restaurant and found her. She expressed her joy at seeing him and apologized for not being there for him. She fulfilled her last wish of cooking his favorite meal and disappeared, finally at peace. The next day, Young Min brought Ji Hyun home to meet his grandmother. His grandmother was delighted to see them together. The series ends with Ji Hyun and Young Min working on a new case, picking up a ghostly passenger in their ghost taxi. Ji Hyun, now human, couldn't see the ghost, but Young Min could, and they continued their journey, helping spirits find peace.